Coach Kimrey, how are you doing this evening?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So I guess, like I said, we normally talk to you during the football season and a lot going on there. So everybody knows the season you guys had another Blue Cross Bowl appearance. Can I talk about what you guys have been up to, in the off season? I'm sure a lot of conditioning and stuff like that going on right now for your team coming up in 2024.
Oh, yeah, it never stops, as you guys know. So the guys are working hard in the weight room with Bryce Johnson right now. A lot of the guys that aren't playing a spring sport are out with the track team and able to do some movements and drills and stuff like that out there just with our track people and just stay in shape more than anything. But listen, football is not a sport you want to play year-round. It's a tough, brutal sport, and I think it's good for everybody to get away from it for a while.
Yeah, for sure. And you got a guy like Nelson McNaught that was on your team this past year. We were looking at the highlights today, hitting an absolute rope in the baseball game last night. So, guys that were playing for you in the fall are still doing things in the winter and the spring as well. So that's definitely good to see.
It is, and it's great here. And I'm glad you have Coach Ellie and Coach Kenny on next. It's great to work at a place where we work so well together to really encourage our student athletes to play multiple sports. A lot of schools, as big as this one, don't want that. But we want to share our athletes, and we've had some really tremendous two-sport football, baseball players. Caleb Hampton, who's at Stanford doing it right now and doing it at a high level. And then, of course, Amari Jefferson, who's Mr. Football, and then, our starting center fielder and a really, really good baseball player. So it's fun to see those guys play. I'm not surprised to see them have success.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about two sports, cross sports, track, wrestling. Obviously, you talked about Jefferson. But what's it like kind of coming in, having to replace guys like this? You've got Jefferson, you got the Muschamp. Obviously, it's nothing unusual to Baylor. But when you got such high-level guys, what have you, in the kind of the era of the transfer, as it were, what are you looking at to kind of step in those guys that were leaders, replacing a leader? How does your approach to identifying a leader, or do the leaders kind of identify themselves?
They tend to emerge, but I think the biggest thing you can do is reinforce your culture, your expectations. We're excited about a lot of the guys that we have coming through our program that are coming up, and kind of some of the ones that are going to step up and be those leaders and where there might be some areas of deficiency. But right now it's just trying to take the guys that we have here and get them stronger. And, sooner or later we'll start talking about football and scheme. And, we're certainly evaluating everything we did last year, what we need to do to get better as a program. Every year we sit back and really try to ask ourselves really hard questions and see, what are the things that we can do to improve. And we do that of all of our players and all of our coaches. And so we're focused on the things that we can control right now, which is kind of that process.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned, guys in the weight room. We've, set that position in the training facility here, the weight room here. Talk about just this facility and kind of the way, that not just your kids, but everybody, like you said, the multiple sport athletes that you may have a hand in coaching throughout the year, how they utilize this facility and how big of a benefit it is for you and Baylor athletics.
I mean, it's a collegiate facility. It's incredible.
It really is.
And Bryce Johnson's the best in the business. I've never been around a guy that's as talented as he is in terms of not just his knowledge, but his ability to connect to young people, to see what each individual young person needs. We've got some high-tech stuff in here with our perch system that essentially videos you working out and can spit out data on the meters per second square that you're pushing, how fast, how slow, if the weight needs to be stronger or heavier or lighter. And, you can do that in competition with each other. So our guys are actually competing while they work out, and this system will give you data on who was really the strongest of the day. So there's constant competition, but this place is great that can facilitate a large number of athletes at one time. And Bryce has his hands on all of our sports. So it's nice for a guy like me who's not a strength guy to be able to just watch him go and do his thing and trust him fully.
Well, it's a good thing that they didn't have this kind of that technology when we were in school, Justin Sims, because it would probably be embarrassing every single day.
I would probably set all the records so high nobody would have ever
down here
achieved them, right? So I really want to talk USC. We've got a big matchup tomorrow in basketball, and there's obviously been some all-times in Lattimore. I want to talk, Tannehill, the guy, the hair. Do you have an all-time Gamecock or an all-time memory of USC, and what's your prediction for tomorrow's basketball game?
Well, I mean, of course, I grew up going to the stadium and going to all the games. So I do remember in 1992, since we're talking Carolina, Tennessee, Johnny Majors brings his team to Williams-Brice, and I think Heath Schuler was the quarterback, and I think it was our initial year in the SEC. And Tannehill goes on a run at the end of the year, and y'all scored late, down by 1 and went for 2 and didn't get it. So what's cool about that game is if you've ever seen the movie The Program, the football movie, it was filmed at halftime of that game. So if you watch that game, it's in Williams-Brice. It's a fictional college team. It's pretty hilarious now when you watch it. But there's a little bit of orange in the stadium, and that's because we played Tennessee and beat them. We were lucky enough to beat them that year. So that's a warm memory for sure. I think I went with my grandmother. I was 12.
Right.
But, big game tomorrow night in Columbia.
Looking to go 2-0 against Tennessee. And, former UTC coach Lamont Parrish doing good things in Columbia.
Everyone is thrilled in Columbia right now. Listen, in the world of coaching, whether you're even in high school, but mostly at that level, what have you done for me lately? And last year was a tough start, but, he really came in so late. It was hard for him to really put his fingerprints on the program. And now that he has we were picked dead last. Dead last. By guys like y'all. And then, we go, we come to Tennessee and beat you guys, and we'll probably beat you again tomorrow night.
Okay.
And,
I like it.
And, we could finish first in the conference. So that's exciting times. I'm happy for Lamont. I don't know him, but I've heard nothing but great things about him in Columbia and here in Chattanooga.
For sure.
So it's an exciting time to be a Gamecock basketball fan. And our women's team's a lot better than y'all's, too. I'm just talking so much trash right now. They'll be like, wait till football season.
No musical talent comes out of USC. There's no Blowfish or.
Don't hate on Darius now.
Do we need to get in the Kenny Chesney, Darius Rucker debate right here on off the bench? Because I'm mad to lean toward, hold my hand, right? So
I'm teasing y'all.
No, that's good stuff. It's true though, because obviously, I'm wearing a UTC sweatshirt tonight. Southern Conference tournament's going on, so we think back to 2 years ago when he was leading that team that hit the shot at the buzzer to get to the NCAA tournament. Like you say, did great things at Chattanooga. Got the great opportunity to go lead a SEC program and build them back up. It is a good thing to see because it's like you can. We knew this guy could build a program and do it the right way. He's just doing it at the SEC level, which is awesome.
And what an accelerated pace now. And I guess with the new world that we live in, with the transfer portal and NIL, you can build a basketball team really fast. But we have not traditionally had a lot of success in basketball at South Carolina on the men's side. I think we've been to one tournament in 10 years under Frank Martin. So it's cool to see it. I know the people in Columbia are very excited.
Now, going back to, you came from South Carolina at Hammond, right? So a lot of success there. You came here a couple years ago. Kind of talk about the differences, if there are any, between where you came from at Hammond to Baylor and kind of, I guess, the differences there.
Sure.
As you took the job.
Hammond's a little bit like Baylor. It's a smaller private school. I was there 17 years, so was hired when I was 24. Got to make a lot of mistakes, figure out I didn't know anything about football, and learned on the fly.
You're doing okay.
Yeah. So it was cool to have that experience and get to know who you are as a head coach. Understand probably your weaknesses more than anything, because when you understand your weaknesses as a leader, you can surround yourself with people who don't have the same ones. So you don't have these glaring gaps in the leadership in your program. But to do that and then to go to the SEC for a year and learn, just on a higher level of football, studied the NFL, studied, of course, the SEC a lot for a year. That was a really cool experience. With coaching for Coach Beamer and that. But this is something I'd had an eye on a long time. I'd been here before. There's a deep connection actually between Baylor and Hammond. The last 3 headmasters at Hammond are all Baylor graduates, including the one that's here now at Baylor, Chris Angel, and that was kind of my connection. But I certainly learned a lot about, what it takes to kind of be a head coach.
So who could throw a better fade, you or Muschamp?
Definitely me.
Okay.
Me.
Okay.
Look it up on YouTube, folks. It's right there. So,
I think. What can you say about the Baylor? The surrounding facilities, obviously one of the more beautiful campuses. Just bringing guys in to see something like this, and the selling of Baylor, I guess, takes care of itself. Do you try to sell any programs, or you kind of? What's your influence on guys when because we've seen that Sabans come through, or obviously D1 coaches, like.
Yeah.
What's the kind of some cool maybe recruiting stories you've seen from some guys that fans around here might like to hear that maybe could be told?
No, sure. No, we've had a good share of head coaches come through. That's always fun just to pick their brains. A lot of course, assistant coaches are coming through all the time when, it's an open season for that. And thank God it's not right now because we need a little break. No, I mean, it was fun to have Kirby fly in on the helicopter on the right field right here. And, I think that was neat. And every coach is a little bit different, has a little different personality. I think Kirby wanted the whole school to know he was flying in on a helicopter. When Coach Saban came, a few weeks ago before he retired, he didn't really want anybody to know. He wanted to be able to slide in and slide out. And so he came in. He spent about an hour with me and Amari, and he was awesome. Just fun to talk about the future of college football with him. Very engaging. These guys are professionals, and they know how to engage coaches and players where they're at. I remember Kirby knew something about every kid that was in the room that he was talking to. And then, Coach Saban left, and we have admissions girls that are in our admissions department that are Alabama grads, right? So they wanted to meet Coach Saban, and they met him and took a quick picture with him. He didn't want to take pictures with a ton of people. But I joked with them. I was like, well, y'all can't take pictures with coaches anymore because they'll retire 3 weeks later. So, but it's been fun. Coach Heupel's been on campus probably more than any head coach. Super impressed with him. I just think he does a great job. He's a down-to-earth guy. You can tell he knows his stuff. And, I think that Tennessee is set up in a really good spot with Josh Heupel at the helm.
Going back to what you just said, the personalities there, what would be the Coach Kimrey method getting on campus? Roll right in unannounced or, out of the heavens on a helicopter?
I would just, whatever the coach wanted, I would not probably be a helicopter guy. I'd probably roll in the back door.
I think I'm right there,
Keep
too.
a low profile.
That's awesome. Well, Coach Kimrey, we appreciate you taking the time to join us once again, talking a little ball, but also, some trash talk between, you can't tell Justin's a Tennessee fan, right, for sure.
Well, he's got a green Tennessee shirt on, right?
Hopefully it doesn't mean you're going to be sick tomorrow.
Right. I prepare early for St. Patrick's Day. You can never get too much St. Patrick's Day prep in.
I get it. Green and orange, man, that's rough.
We appreciate you again taking the time, and we're looking forward to covering your team once again when the football season rolls around.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Coach.